all you wonderful people of the internet. I'm the Zodiac Lord, and happy Halloween, first of all, if you're watching this on Halloween, which is cool, yeah. I'm redrawing a picture I did last year. If you've been on my channel since, like, for a year now, which is probably not very many people because, you know, I've had a lot of subscribers. I've gained a lot of subscribers since last Halloween and stuff like that. But if you were there or you've seen some of my older videos, you know that 1 year ago I redrew a Halloween picture thing from the year before that, which was really cool. The original picture wasn't even uploaded on Halloween, but it was very Halloween themed and I really wanted to redraw it because I was super proud of it when I made it, so I made a redrawing and I decided I'd redraw it again this year, yay! So I also thought, like, I was originally just gonna make a music version of this, basically, but then I decided I had some stuff I wanted to talk about and ramble on about and things like that. So I decided to make two versions, one with me talking, which is this one, and then one with music. So yeah, that's pretty cool and stuff. So yeah, it was actually kind of funny because, you know, if a year ago, if you asked me, like, you saw my Halloween picture and like, will you redraw this again next year? My answer would have probably been like, I don't really know, probably not, whatever. But surprisingly, because I mean, at the time when I made it, I was super happy with how it came out. I was like, yes, this is super cool. I'm a super good artist, whatever. But this year, I actually took a look back at it, and I just kind of looked at it and I'm like, I'm so much better than this now. So I decided I'd redraw it again. And you'll see the original picture at the end of this video, but for this redrawing, I think I kind of went more with like what the original picture actually looked like in terms of like composition and stuff, like having them face more forward than in the old one. I felt like the old one was a little bit like, what's the word? Like, it was a bit not as like, what's the word? It felt a little bit disconnected, I feel like, because it was just a little more to the side. It was dynamic, yes, but I don't know. Looking at it, I felt like there would be more, like, creepiness. It's not even really a super creepy picture, but, like, I feel like there'd be just a little more eeriness if it was facing forward, you know? Than if they were facing to the side like they were. I don't know. So I felt like a lot of the composition ended up being a lot more like the old one than the slightly more recent version, than the version from last year, which is actually pretty cool. Find it kind of cool going with like the older one in this case, like more like I'm redrawing the older one than the newer one, I guess. That probably sounds like super confusing. But so yeah, I really love how this came out, honestly. Like, I'm very satisfied with how it came out. And I don't know if I'm going to actually, like, make this a tradition where I redraw this specific picture every year for Halloween. I don't know if I'm going to do that, really, or not. I might. Probably not. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I feel like I'm only really going to redraw it if I feel like I've improved significantly, if you know what I'm saying. Like the reason I redrew this in the first place was because it was like, ooh, look at this, I don't really like this anymore. So I was like, I'm gonna redraw it. So yeah, that's kind of what was up with that. And I do like it. It's actually very funny just to look back at like how I used to draw a year ago. Like, I could just see so many flaws, particularly with like proportions and anatomy. Like, it's funny because about a year ago, there were people who'd actually tell me, like, hey, this looks alright, but the heads look just a little big, and I'd kind of be, like, in denial about it. For shame on you, younger me. But I'd be kind of, like, somewhat in denial about it, like, well, it's just cartoony, that's what it is, because that's a good excuse for art, right? Oh, my God. Even me from a year ago makes me shake my head. But anyway, so yeah, my art's definitely improved in that small year, and I used to make the eyes just a little bit too big, I think, back then, you know. What else was there? I know there were things I was thinking about when I was like jumping back and forth between pictures. But yeah, I know shading's definitely improved, I think. Stuff like that. But yeah, there's just a lot of little improvements, which is pretty cool and pretty snazzy and all that kind of stuff. A little bit of backstory, actually, for any of you who don't, like, never saw the original and don't know where the origins of this picture came from. The original Happy Halloween picture, great title, I know, actually came from the fact that a friend of mine in real life, I don't really talk to her much anymore, but like a friend I knew at the time wrote a story for their English class. This was like 2-3 years ago, maybe, about, roughly, I don't know, but I want to say I was probably a freshman in high school, so probably about 2 or 3 years ago, I don't know, but she, in her English class, they were writing horror stories, basically, and spooky stories, and the requirements was, like, make sure you fill up at least one page, like, half a page to a full page with your spooky story, whatever, I don't know, something like that. And she ended up writing, like, I think 13 pages front to back, probably not 13, but like a lot of pages front to back with this whole spooky story, and she gave it for me to read, and I was like, I super love this is so cool. Like, I was super infatuated by it, whatever. So I basically drew fan art of the story, which, if I remember correctly, the picture I drew was because this girl was going back to, like, this asylum where I think her mother was, and because her and her sister were, like, little kids or something, and that they were in part of the asylum because they didn't have any of the family to live with. I don't really remember. But she goes back to this asylum where she used to live in some way, and apparently, I guess, her sister died. And so she's here visiting, and her sister's ghost basically comes back and comes to have a good time and spook her sister. And so that's what this picture is. It's the sister and then her dead younger sister, basically. And I think at the end of the story, it was like a bunch of ghosts of a bunch of kids in the asylum that were all like around, like, ooh, spooky, scary. I know my descriptions are awesome, aren't they? But yeah, so I believe that's what that's kind of like the context of what the scene actually came from. And she's kind of like, and the reason why she's bloodied up was because traveling there wasn't easy, and there was like lots of rocks and things and all sorts of stuff, so she got a lot of scratches, whatever. Which is kind of funny because it kind of looks more like she just came out of a fight, which could happen, I don't know. I left all the like blood marks and stuff like that was just because that was a thing that I had originally in, you know, in the pictures and stuff like that. So I was like, I'm gonna keep that in with the pictures and stuff, and yeah. I also want to make this a little bit of a message because, you know me, I love getting all sentimental and stuff. I wanted to say that, like, redrawing this has been, like, for one thing, this was a lot of fun. I really love doing this. I think the shading on our main girl here was, like, my favorite part. And I really love shading. Shading and coloring is fun, okay? But I really love how it came out. And I wanted to say that, like, just kind of redrawing this, in all honesty, it kind of, redrawing old stuff always makes me feel kind of, like, pretty good and pretty satisfied with my art. Like, even if I know it's not perfect, there's just something, like, so nice about being able to redraw old art and say, look at this improvement I've made. I'm going somewhere. I'm like on the right direction, you know? And there's something just so pleasing about it. Like, just redrawing this, like that picture from a year ago, the year-old redraw or whatever, that picture, I was, like, super proud of it. I was super, like, man, look at this. This is super, I love this. This is so, cool and great. Look at me, I've improved so much, which I had improved quite a lot. But then to, like, redraw it again this year and redraw it now and think, like, you know, I'm still getting better, you know, I haven't peaked yet. That's, like, pretty cool, honestly, you know? And if, like, anything could be learned from this, I suppose, it's, like, if you ever feel kind of, like, down in the dumps about your artwork or whatever, I highly encourage you, go back, find some old picture. It can be as old as it could be from, like, 10 years ago, it could be from like a month ago, just whatever, like you want, whatever. Just basically look at it and try redrawing it. I guarantee you 9 times out of 10 you're gonna get something that looks so much better, and you're gonna kind of see that, like, you know, you might not be perfect, but you're getting better. Like, that's the thing, you know, that's improvement, and that's a very important thing. And it puts it into perspective, really, that, like, oh, I'm not, like, it kind of is just sort of a wake-up call of, like, oh, I'm not remaining static, I'm still getting better, you know? It's kind of like a bit of a wake-up call sort of thing, you know? And you know what? I'll admit, I've seen some people who do redraws that, like, sometimes you look at them and you're like, you know, the older version does kind of look a little bit better, in my opinion, but I guarantee you, you're going to find something that, like, you've improved upon, especially, like, the further back you go, you know? So I would highly encourage you that if you're ever feeling kind of like down in the dumps about your artwork, or you feel like a little displeased with your art, go back and redraw some old artwork. I promise you. You're going to kind of like, it's going to be kind of a nice, refreshing sort of thing to go back and do that kind of thing. So yeah, I would definitely encourage that. I'm really happy with how this picture came out and everything, and I love being able to step back and see how much I've improved in like just a year, you know? I think it's pretty cool, you know? Just to kind of like, ooh, look at that, you know? So yeah, I think that's all about I wanted to say. I hope that was inspiring in some way, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I want to tell me your thoughts, opinions in the description, whatever, and I hope you enjoyed this video. So I hope you're having a great day, and I will see you in the next video, whatever it may be. Zodiac out.